in your time, how much fun is this right now? The way this team is playing and winning.
I mean, it is fun. It's fun because you're seeing them improve. It's fun because you're seeing the result of staying together pay dividends. You're seeing the result of a support staff and the people around me stay together and take really simple themes, offensively, defensively, how you watch video, what are you doing in the weight room, and never let it go and try to walk it down and see that resonate slowly. I mean, that's the slow evolution that we have all experienced of trying to build a culture, to build a set of behaviors and standards and grow a program. And it is extremely early days, and although the excitement, is real, I think it's tempered clearly with there's just so much more to do.
You brought up something last night which I thought was interesting, if you could expound on it. The players have a certain DNA about them, a basketball DNA. Remember we were talking about that yesterday. How do you find that, and can you just expand on that a little bit? You have it here, I think.
I think so, and some of it's just gut feel. Anytime we draft people, one of the interesting things for me is you sit them in a room, you look across, they just sit there and you just talk with them. And then, you have a gut feel about the person, and you understand their resume, and you understand their pedigree, and, you research, coaches and teammates, and you really study the person. And so that DNA, that toughness, that personality, the passion, do they really love basketball? Do they truly want to get better? I think it's a very revealing question when you ask somebody, like, do you really want to get better? And what does that look like? What does that mean? How do you see that happening? You start listening and learning, and you just, form an opinion of the person. I think the people that we are growing and having the program, we got a long ways to go to get it to where we want, but there is a DNA that's emerging that is very sort of endearing and appealing to me from a toughness standpoint, from a defensive standpoint, and from a competitive standpoint.
Brett, what kind of appreciation do you have for these wins when it's guys like TJ and Rob hitting the game winner versus someone predictable like Joel?
I mean, I see the work that these guys put in. Like take Robert for example. The beat down at times he gets from our fans, and he's resilient. And this is the city of Philadelphia, and it's part of living and coaching and playing in the city. And sadistically, I love it. It is challenging. There's no wiggle room. They too wear their heart on their sleeve. I thought the crowd last night was amazing. Like really great. And TJ, if he takes some hits, or Covington takes some hits, for them to like just head down and keep moving, and don't get distracted by the noise. To see those two especially get rewarded with the work that they put in, and at times the questioning that they have received, it's fantastic.
It's the last time the team won 4 out of 5. Way back in time with the Spencer and Thaddeus and Evan team. But just how, even with the things being tempered, how much different is it though for guys at this stage to feel something like this? I mean, is that a critical part of the development?
It is, because it validates the work they put in. We talk all the time about just trying to knock out good days. They're a lot easier to sell and say when you sprinkle in wins along with that. You feel it with just speaking to you all, like you feel it in the people in the front office, you feel it with the support staff. That's why we do what we do. You try to, win. Like you try to grow the program with that mindset. And the mindset in the, Joel talks about, playoff stuff. It's a mentality and a vision and a feeling as much as it is a result. And I'm here to create sort of the vision and the mentality, and the results will come. I feel like we all have a tendency to get ahead of ourselves. As good as it is, we recognize we have 4 playoff teams coming up. We'd all be wiser to talk after that. 4 in a row, and the last one is the hardest. And we'll all be able to judge and measure, a little bit better after that. Even with that, our marching orders are report card is trying to get these guys better and develop and still experiment. The fact that I've shrunk the rotation, helps us coach a little bit easier. You get into a little bit of a rhythm. But Jaleel has taken a little bit of a hit. That disturbs me. Like we have to find ways to not forget that part of what we do, what I do. And you're going to go to Washington, and it's going to be easy because Joel Embiid isn't going to play, and Jaleel is going to be back on stage. So keeping him alive, keeping his head alive, is part of stuff that, there's no book that tells you, again, how to sort of orchestrate that and deal with that. But it's real. And so all that comes to my mind when you ask that question about 4 or 5. It's way deeper than just those sort of immediate numbers.
Do you think it's tough on him because, over the stretch, he's only played about 10 minutes? I mean, do you think it's because he obviously wants you guys to win, but at the same time, he wants to obviously play?
Of course it's tough. Of course it's tough. And I just give him an amazing amount of credit at a very young age that he hasn't, let the disappointment of him not receiving a lot of minutes distract from the team aspect, to distract from his effort out here of sweating. Just look at, he's drenched, like he's playing, he's working. And Jaleel Okafor is going to be just fine. He would be just fine because he's a wonderful person. He cares. He's professional. Don't forget his birth certificate. It doesn't say he's 28. All right, it doesn't say that. And so, we just study, and you look at that and look at his pedigree. Jaleel's going to be just fine. And so, buying some time, figuring that all out is part of my job, and it can't get clouded or forgotten just because we have had some wins. It's on my shoulders all the time, trying to make sure that we do the right thing by him.
Brett, you said that Joe's going to not play on Saturday. Why that one out of the back-to-back?
It's just a decision that we make. We like, when we can, playing him at home. It's not the complete marching orders. We feel like there's a rhythm to what we're doing. That's part of it. And, we've made the decision for some of those reasons.
During the 5 games, it seems like the assists are up, the turnovers are down, you're getting the line more, and you're making more. And those are pretty significant things. I think you're +7 in the last 5. 7 more points you're averaging during that time from the line than before that, and that's a fairly significant number.
It's true, Tom. And you go, how I break our season down in 10-game windows, and so we're going into our 7th game with this 10-game window, and we've chosen different things, and we're walking some things down, and some of those things you just said are some of things what I call what's most important. We have WMI on everything we do, and so in this 10-game period, some of the WMIs are some of those areas that you just said, and so to the point we spoke about earlier, how do you improve? Choose simple things, make them not negotiable. This is the bottom line. This is what we're doing. And you did or you didn't, and you just walk them down. And you just are very sort of ruthless in your assessment from a coaching perspective. We did or we didn't, and we have to. And with that, I hope, that belief, you're going to see results. And with 20-year-olds, they come slower than we all wish, but I think that we're moving in the direction that we've been working on, whether it's how to close out games, whether it's how to execute at the end of games. We scored 7 possessions in a row yesterday. We went on a 15-4 run. We executed when it mattered. We got stops when it mattered. And we were able to take, a 10-point deficit with 2 minutes left and flip it into a win. And those are the types of things that you just have to, remind yourself of all the work that everybody's put in, where ultimately you hope to see those types of results.
Brett, how eager are you or excited are you to go into this stretch? Because like you said, what you did is great, but now you're going to go to see what you guys can do against, better opponents.
I think it's fantastic. I and the players, we welcome this. We feel like we're playing good basketball. You're going to see things that more clearly see things that you need to get better at when you start playing against the elite teams in the East, and we're going to see it right in a row, with the hardest of all of them being the fourth game in Toronto. And it's a compass, it's a reminder of what we're going to need to do to get where we want to go. And so we completely welcome it. I mean, I think it's at a great phase and stage, albeit early, of us, where we can say, and they hear it from me, like it's getting to a new sort of territory right now with the level of opposition. I just feel like it becomes a more real blueprint of what you need to do to get better.
Brett, TJ was saying that he's already forgotten about winning the game last night. So
I don't believe that. I haven't.
So that being said, how do you want the guys to balance carrying the momentum but not resting too much on what they did the previous game?
I mean, it was a whole theme of this morning's film session to how do you get better? How do you get greedy? How do you move on? Let's understand the reality of our landscape. We have 4 playoff teams coming up. This is what we just got done doing. Nobody's taking away anything from us, but how do you get better? And we select different areas. We call it special teams, offense, defense, things of that sort, that we choose a few areas that we want to get better at. We have to get better at it. And there's nobody, led by me, that's getting ahead of ourselves. We completely grounded. We get it. We're pleased with the recent results, but I think getting greedy and how do you get better is the messaging that we're holding on to.